So today we're going to have a conversation. Yeah, if you're new here, I have worked with hundreds of people around the world for more than 30 years, helping them to have a different experience of their life. And that's what we do here, right? I am a 40-year teacher and student of A Course in Miracles. I'm a certified law of attraction trainer. I'm a certified inspired spirit life coach. I've done a lot of things. I'm a graduate of NYU, but none of that really matters, really. The only thing that matters is right here, right now. Take a deep breath. So, today's topic is the big switch. Today's topic is called the big switch. What do I mean by the big switch? What I'm referring to in the big switch is that there is the constant and never-ending need of the separated self to get somewhere that it thinks is better, right? Just like that phrase, that old phrase that says, the grass is not always greener. And that is really true. And there is no other grass. So on your spiritual path, or on any path in life, the separated self is taught, is indoctrinated, is convinced that somewhere other than here is better. For example, now I have to say this over and over, and everyone that watches me, I have to say this over and over as we speak. This is not good or bad. This is just how it works. So, for example, if you are sad, you need to find a way to get happy, right? If you're depressed, you have to find a way to get rid of the depression. If you are uneducated, you have to find a way to get educated, right? Because what happens is that the separated self will convince you, as it does everyone in the separated world, in the illusion, is that it's always somewhere else. It's always somewhere else. So, when it comes to spiritual work, you're here on Insight Timer, so you might be interested in spiritual work, is that it is implied that you need to change. So your state needs to change. You're asleep, you have to wake up. You're unenlightened, you need to be enlightened, right? This is what is implied over and over and over again. And as you look at your life, and as you look at the world, and as you look at 99% probably of spiritual paths, it is implied that whatever is happening is no good. No good. The other is better. Over there is better. Right? So this is what happens for many people. As I said, I've worked with hundreds of people around the world, and I only relay what I have this character has gone through, right? So, for most people, you're being guided into changing your state. What is your state? The state is how you're perceiving your experience. So you're either perceiving your experience as challenging, hard, or you're experiencing you're experiencing your experience as easy peasy, easy peasy, easy peasy. Now, easy peasy is not better than hard. It is what it is, right? So if you sign up for a program, and listen, I do lots of programs and I help a lot of people in the separated self, but we're here to open something else up here, right? So you go from feeling defeated to feeling empowered, right? You go from distrust to trust. So that's a state. That's the state of distrust to the state of trusting. The state, well, actually, it would be doubt to trust. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. But everything is implied that you need to change, that something needs to change. What's the big one now? Trauma. That's big. If you've been around the block a few times like I have, there's always something that's like a big deal. It's like the ailment of the time. The ailment of the time is trauma. I am not saying that there's nothing, that trauma isn't real in the separated world. It is, of course it is. So everything now, not everything, but there's a huge push. And listen, I love Gabor Mate. He's done incredible work. This is not to say that this is not good work. But the whole thing is that you have to change your state because the trauma has created a state and you have to change your state, right? So you change your state. You do whatever the experts say to do, and then you get better. Then you get better, right? Now, in A Course in Miracles, remember I told you I'm a teacher and a student of A Course in Miracles for many years. A Course in Miracles would say, referring to this state change, to change one state for another state, from sad to happy, it would say you are exchanging one illusion for another illusion. So you might be happy, but, I will use the word but is that the truth? You might be healed, but is that the truth? Because the truth is, I mean, you can take my word for it or not, it doesn't matter. But the whole concept of needing to be healed is a misnomer right away, because it's looking at a false character that something's wrong with that needs to change, right? This is deep stuff, and it's very different than what you're going to hear. Hear me very clearly. There's nothing wrong with doing healing. There's nothing wrong with working on your trauma. There's nothing wrong with getting happier at all. But I'm here to open up a conversation that if you just change one state for another state, is that something that you want to do? Because I will tell you this, and this is the truth in the separated world. States do not last. Because then you're because what happens is you change your state, and you're depending on staying happy. I got to stay happy now. Now I have to stay happy. I have to stay happy, happy, happy. Because I found happy, so I got to stay happy. And what happens in the illusion? Chaos happens. Trauma happens. And then you're not happy anymore. And then you go right back into something's wrong. I'm bad. I have to change. I have to get there. So something's wrong again. So you're back on the loop. So a state, just like the sad state or the depressed state or the anxious state, it does not last. It doesn't last. I don't care if it lasts 40 years or it lasts 4 minutes. It does not last. It changes. So is it beneficial to be searching after changing your state? Is it beneficial to keep searching after changing your state? Take a deep breath. That is the question. So this is the point where I open it up to all of you and ask you, is it beneficial to continue to look to change your state all the time? There's no right or wrong answer at all. At all. I will say this before the next person says anything, is that this is incredibly confronting to the separated self. Because the separated self is built on changing, is built on lack. It's built on there is something wrong, so we have to fix it. Kyrie says, a mask can only be held for so long, then your hand gets tired and you drop it and it's back to the real you. That's a cool way to look at it. Mm-hmm. Sure. Sure. The truth is, what if you stop? What if today, in this moment, it all stopped? The search stopped. The needing to change stopped. The forcing the world to change stopped. The trying to heal yourself stopped. Trying to get somewhere stopped. What if that all stopped? What if that all stopped? Sue says, it's actually something tormenting to continue on depending on states of being outside of myself for peace or contentment. At the same time, I have yet to realize my higher self and the peace that I already am. Really great. Well said. That's right. Very, very well said. I'm going to say one thing. There's an interesting thing that you said there. I have yet to realize my higher self and the peace that I already am. There's no higher self and there's no lower self. Ooh, because that would be the same thing. Paulette says, I always felt that I healed my trauma, that I would be fine. Wink, wink. Yep, exactly. Paulette, you're just like everyone else. When I do this, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. And then everything will be honky-dory. I love that term, honky-dory. Far out, man. Okay, let's see. Nina says, would you be at peace? Is that a question or a statement? Wink, wink, Sue. Hello, Insky. I really like this concept. It refines the idea and construct that one state is better than another. So if I no longer need to attach the illusion of being happy, good and unhappy, bad. So this new concept frees me from duality or lack and having to choose. That's right. Instead of just be and flow. Yep, for sure. Very well said. Lauren says, my conflict comes from law of attraction principles of aligning my higher vibrations in order to manifest, because that takes work by the separated self, at least in my experience. I get that, Lauren. I get that. Law of attraction is just co-creation that's happening. It's just co-creation that's happening. That's all that it is. Once you step out of your way, everything will flow. But then I just gave you something to do. I told you to change your state, but you don't have to change your state because now listen to this. It already is the flow. The sun is there, even though there's clouds in front of it. So there's no higher self. The idea of moving the clouds away is what you're kind of talking about here, which is a great analogy on some level. But it also is, we're trying to go actually beyond that, because usually, it's the cloud that's trying to dictate what you want to attract. What I'm touching on here is really, really the end of the story. It's the end of the story. It's actually the answer that the ego is looking for. It's the answer that the ego is looking for.